So I don't know how much time you spend scrolling through reels, James.
Mm-hmm.
How much time do you? How many reels do you actually see, like on Instagram?
At least about 4, and that's like 4 that I really want to see.
Yeah, you don't ever like get caught up in the scroll and just scroll through like the different reels and suggested things.
No, but I understand people that do it because they don't want to see that little red bar with that little bar that's around. The round circle. No one wants to see the little round circle, so they have like an addiction. Just go through every single reel till all of them are clear.
Oh no! So I'm not talking about those specifically. Sometimes if you're scrolling, you'll get to like suggested reels or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah, I have seen those a couple times.
Like,
yeah,
Facebook and Instagram do it a lot. TikTok probably does it as well. I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, but sometimes I'll get caught up just kind of scrolling through reels. And lately, I've been trying to back off my social media use, just because. Seeing 30 seconds of influencers doing random influencer crap just kind of gets annoying.
I got you.
But there's this one influencer person that Facebook keeps trying to show me. And unfortunately, I fall for it, obviously, because I stop and watch it, right? Yeah. But her whole thing is she's like a stay-at-home mom, and she just smokes a lot of weed. Okay. That's it. Like, she takes care of the kids, and she smokes weed in between taking care of the kids. Like, that's her whole shtick. I mean, she's not smoking weed with the kids. It's not that extreme yet, maybe.
Yes, she might be.
Exactly. And I passed by a video of her today where she was unboxing, like, I guess, like, she did an endorsement deal with, you know, some weed gummies or whatever, and they sent her, like, a bunch of weed gummies, and she's unboxing them, and her kids are in the video. And then, like, she's opening them up and she's eating the gummy or whatever. And, like, I know, like, weed's kind of becoming more normalized, like alcohol and stuff. But there's still a certain part of me that's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing that while your kid's next to you.
How old are the kids?
I mean, they're like toddlers.
Ooh, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that in front of the kids. Well, I mean, drinking, all because you know, drink is normalized, you can't do that in front of a kid, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know, because I know some people do drink while their kids are around, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just different with weed gummies. I don't know. Something about it just rubs me the wrong way.
Well, what if the kid goes up and eat one of the gummies by accident?
Well, that's what a lot of people in the comments were saying. They're like, what are you doing? Like
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, because what if one of the kids eat the gummies?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of, it looks irresponsible more than anything.
It does look irresponsible. And it's also just like, this is all your content is like, hey, you're a mom and you smoke a lot of weed. It's like, maybe you shouldn't be putting this on the internet. I don't know. I mean, obviously she probably lives somewhere where it's like more legalized. Mm-hmm.
But maybe she has more hobbies, but she's not showcasing it because all you see is her weed hobby.
Yeah. And it's just weird because she's not the only one who does this. Like, there's all kinds of like different influencers who just kind of brag about doing drugs. And I mean, I'm not talking about just weed. I'm talking about like coke and shrooms and all kinds of different things. And it's just like, how are you making content like this? It's just like this.
Unfortunately, that's content that gets passed.
It is. And I mean, well, any content gets passed, I suppose.
And I don't want to sound like begrudging about it. I mean, hey, it is what it is. If that's your only talent and that's your only gimmick that you can get by on, go right ahead.
Yeah, you just make a bunch of drug jokes. I don't know. It's something that always just kind of rubs me the wrong way, because it's like it's not creative. It's not doing anything better for society. You're just doing you.
I understand. I totally understand.
And there's another thing where it's like there's a bunch of these other like podcasts, like celebrity podcasts, where they just talk about like doing drugs and getting drunk and all the wild stories from that. Which to be fair, they are interesting stories, but at a certain point, it's just like, I don't know. It just gets old. It just gets old seeing that kind of content.
Yeah, yes and no. It depends. I think it depends on who the influencer is, who the actor is, especially if it's somebody who is known to have been very quiet throughout their entire life.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool to see that celebrity go off on another side.
Yeah,
and do other type of content and tell stories about their life. So I have no problem with that. But if it's just like, if you're just putting up content just for just BS, and first of all, it's not consistent, then that's when I kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
So you're just doing this for nothing. Nice.
Well, I mean, they're just promotional clips from like whatever podcast they were on or whatever, or promoting the podcast that they were on. But I just find a lot of those similar stories and that similar kind of content just really kind of turns me off. Which I know we shouldn't be bad mouthing. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. We can bad mouth content.
Bad mouth content related whatever you don't like. I mean, yeah, it is.
It's just something I noticed.
We ain't teaming up with these people, and we're also not bitter. I don't want people to think that we're bitter when we're doing this, because I know some people like, well, why y'all hating? Y'all can do the same thing. I'm not hating. I'm not bitter. I don't care. Like, people can do whatever they want. We're just saying what we don't like about certain things, because let's face it, the podcasting landscape is nothing but everybody has a podcast. Yeah. Every single person, we said this multiple times doing the same podcast. Everyone has a podcast. So you try to be somewhat different. And it's very hard when you're doing stuff that's very different, because not everybody's going to want to listen. And you're going to have a different type of group that wants to listen with different type of material. So I get it. So I don't want people to think that we're sitting up here being bitter, we're hating, because we're not. I could care less about these people. I don't even look at their podcast. Like, because I can kind of already know or I can kind of already know what type of podcast I'm going to get just looking at it. Just looking at the thumbnail. I say, I'm good. Like, if I see a podcast with Snoop Dogg, I love Snoop, rapping wise, but I know I'm good. Because I don't want to hear any stories that he has to tell me. Yeah. Unless they're like really, really interesting, but they're not.
It's weird because, I don't know, celebrity-led podcasts have kind of gotten old for me. It's not cool anymore. Before it used to be like, oh, cool, I get to listen to this person talk about their daily life. But then, like, now every celebrity's got one, and it's just like, okay, this is just extra revenue for you. Like, this is some contract you set up. Like, Kim Kardashian's has a podcast, and she's got 9 episodes, and she hasn't released anything since, like, November. So it's just something she did to play around with, and then that was it. I think it was, like, some case that she had, because remember, she's a lawyer now.
Yeah, she's a lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, I think now the end thing is probably sports podcasting, because more athletes are getting into podcasting. So that's what I listen to more. Sports podcasting, and now they're starting to dip into like kind of the celebrity realm. Yeah, and they talk about other little stuff that goes on in entertainment. Yeah, of course. So now they're dipping into that realm because it's money involved. So
it is what it is. The Osbournes have a podcast.
Like
Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, and a clip passed by the other day as I was scrolling, and whoever's in charge of them, like whoever their manager is, whoever their agent is, whoever's in charge of this podcast, their producer, whatever, needs to shut off the camera. It just needs to be like, hey guys, maybe we just do audio only on this, because they are looking rough.
Especially
James.
Ozzy.
Ozzy's looking rough. Sharon's looking real rough.
She has so much work done.
Yeah. Her kids aren't looking like so bad. Like her kids are fine.
No, yeah, Kelly is fine. Her son is fine.
But it's just like both of them are just looking so bad. Yeah. It's just like, look, we don't need to see you.
Well, I know Ozzy had a whole bunch of health complications, so that's probably the reason why he's probably just aged so badly. But Sharon Osbourne, she's had so much surgery done on her cheeks, lips, nose, everything. Yeah, it's really extreme. I think she had cancer at one time. I think you were telling me that. Somebody was telling me about it. But that's just an observation I made. It's like, maybe turn off the camera, Osbournes. Maybe not everything has to be a video podcast. Podcast is mostly audio. It's internet radio. And plus, you don't really understand half of what Osbourne is saying. Yeah. He's like, because his British accent is so thick.
It's Welsh. But yeah.
Welsh. It's so thick.
And it's also just gotten like, that shtick has gotten old too. It's like, okay, we get it. Like, Ozzy talks like this. Yeah. Like, we don't really need a whole podcast about it. We don't need a whole podcast where he says some off the wall crap and then.
I mean, they had a whole show. Yeah. Didn't they have a whole? They had a whole damn show that everybody watched. It was pretty popular too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my negative segment, I suppose. Just crapping on stuff I see online.
I see.
On the go. We're getting arrested with Jacob and James. So, besides hate watching content,
see,
as I jokingly call it, I don't know, it's not really hate watching, but anyway. So, Joel, again, Now every time I don't answer a phone call from Joel,
He
sends me voicemails, he sends me audios and stuff like this. But this time, he sent me a bunch of like remixed intros for our show.
Oh god.
He came up with some jingles, Joel.
Oh boy.
Oh my, I'm thinking about him. He's thinking about me.
Yep.
He sent me some new intros, James, and so I would like to play those for you. And we can just live react. I haven't edited these. I haven't added music to it. This is just what he's got.
Oh boy.
All right.
Hey Jacob, I like things do. Hey James, if I could I would be you. You know I'd have conversations about all kinds of things. You take a podcast and make it great. On the Go podcast with Jacob and James. It's decent.
That's the first one.
Okay.
Not bad, right?
It's
Pretty
okay.
good. It's a little jingly. I liked it. I thought it was nice.
It's okay.
Yeah. So here's the next one.
Oh, who has a podcast and did not invite me on the Go podcast? It's fun to listen to, oh, can't you see? On the Go podcast. I just dropped some acid, I'm going insane. On the Go podcast. It's fun to listen to on a car or a train. On the Go podcast. 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 With Jacob and James.
So I take it when he's driving. He's doing this when he's driving.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the people next to him that's like on the road, they're like, what the hell's going on in there? What the hell is going on inside this car?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many people are looking over, but I'm sure they just see him
Like
screaming in his car.
just screaming. It's like, oh, let me get from around this guy.
Which we can't use that because we get sued.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Sorry, Joel. We can't use the SpongeBob ripoff.
No.
we can't do it.
Nah.
But he was telling me he had to do multiple takes on that because he kept screwing up the "it's fun to listen to on a train or a plane" or whatever line. He kept like saying it backwards. So he didn't send me the take with the mess ups, which smart on his part because I would have used.
Yeah, that actually would have been better.
I would have used those quite a bit. But
How many of these did he send?
he sent me 4.
Oh, okay.
This one's just an extra one. Actually, we can play this too. It's about Taco Bell apparently. So we'll say that for the end. But this is the gay version.
Hey Jacob, I like things to do. Hey James, if I could I would be you. You have lots of conversations about all kinds of things. You take a podcast and make it great. On the Go podcast with Jacob and James, it's super.
Boy.
All right, that's the first time I actually heard that one. I
That
hadn't listened
sounds
to
bad.
it until
That sounds bad.
It doesn't sound much different from the
It
first
does
one.
like it does
actually.
not. Yeah. Other than you got like a lisp going on there.
Yeah, he added a minor list, but
Yeah.
sorry, Joel. Maybe don't label it the gay version. Version 2. Here's our final version. Here's our final selection.
Hey Jacob, I like things to do. Hey James, brother, if I could I would be you. You have lots of conversations about all kinds of cool things. You know how to take a podcast and make it great. On the Go podcast with Jacob and James. It's freaking rad, brother. Rad.
Okay. So this sounds like I'm gonna add all these together. This sounds like a gay truck driver that works at Krabby. No, I can't say Krabby Patty because so I gotta say truck driver. It's like a gay truck driver that sends us this voicemail. That's what it sounds like all together with a lisp.
I mean that's an opinion.
Jesus Almighty. Oh God.
I think they're funny. I'm gonna play with them. I'm gonna make some stuff out of these for sure. But
Oh boy.
I mean, there's certainly. I don't think there's gonna be a new jingle, but
I hope not. I hope not.
you never know, James. I might open the show with one of these. And
God.
might throw it in your little AI music machine and see what it spits out. But speaking of the
man.
AI music machine, Joel was telling me about that crap.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, because apparently a friend of his has been playing with one of those as well.
Yeah.
And he's been playing with the lyrics side of it. And Joel's like, I can write lyrics. I can make jingles. And I haven't listened to this before. But apparently this is about Taco Bell.
Okay.
Sitting in a Taco Bell, I hear my calling scream. I feel the evil deep inside, rising up in me. I run to the bathroom with superhuman speed. Only God knows if I make it, I praise with me. A car comes from the bathroom like a banshee scream. The whole place goes silent as I listen to my plea, and I'm screaming, oh God, I ran out of toilet paper. Someone help me. Oh God, I ran out of toilet paper. Can you hear me calling? I'm stranded on my throne. Desperate and alone. I just want to go home.
Well, I tell you, boy, Nickelback having a rough time over there, ain't it?
Is that Nickelback?
That sound like Nickelback.
That's somebody. I don't think it's Nickelback, though.
Getting pretty bad over there for him. He went from Spider-Man to this, huh?
I mean, that's what happens when you go to Taco Bell, James. Just
oh man, I feel so sorry for Nickelback.
ruins your
I feel so sorry for those guys.
ruins your colon, apparently. But yeah, that's all the audio that Joel had sent me, and I look forward to getting more. I honestly enjoy it when he sends me funny little jingles and stuff because I get to play with them.
On the Gold Podcast
with Jacob and James.
It's freaking rad, brother.
Rad.
I will open the floor to you.
Oh, okay. So, I think last week, I think it happened on a Thursday or Friday, that Orenthal James Simpson passed away. The juice is freshly squeezed now.
Yeah, it's no longer loose.
Yeah, it's no longer loose. It's freshly. I will say, I am getting, I'm getting tired of OJ jokes about juice being loose. Because I'm just like, I just can't take anymore.
Yeah.
They're just not funny. They're just not funny. That was my last OJ joke. That's all I got left. That's really all I got left.
I mean, there's all kinds of jokes that were like, hey, cancer killed OJ, but cancer says he didn't do it.
Yeah, I saw that one. I saw that one. Like, nothing's original. I was like, God, man. If I'm going to make OJ jokes, at least be original with this.
I mean, yeah, the jokes wrote themselves years ago before he even died. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, last time I saw OJ was probably on TV when he was on podcast, a sporting podcast we did with Cam and Mace, where he does like analysis on sports. I never even knew he had cancer. No one ever knew he had cancer. It was colon cancer.
Yeah.
Like, no one ever knew. And, I understand every celebrity wants to keep their stuff private. But, after listening to like all the different shows and podcasts and, hearing everyone's opinion of what they think about OJ, I wanted to give my opinion on what I think about OJ Simpson, because it's a very complex situation of OJ Simpson's life. You had this, on one hand, you got this guy who was a hell of a football player, rushed for 2,000 yards, a stat that'll never be done again. He played for USC, played in the NFL. Like, this guy was like the height of being big. He was big. He was almost bigger than Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Sort of kind of was. He did movies. He had charisma. He was a Naked Gun. He was in Naked Guns and all these different types of stuff. He did commercials. Like, he had everything. He was also a sports analyst.
Yeah.
The dude did everything. But we all know that his life will always be smeared. His legacy will always be determined by what happened with Nicole Brown.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if he was acquitted. It's such a complex situation for the simple fact that I understand what was going on in 1995. And it divided the whole country when you had a justice system that was so just. And then took place in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And years before that, you had the Rodney King situation.
Right.
So you had everybody on the edge of their seats of like, okay, well, these cops, they got off. This black guy, he better get off.
Yeah.
So that's how everyone felt at the time. My opinion is, I felt like OJ was never my person, because he said he wasn't our person.
Right.
So I never really cared about OJ anymore.
Oh, you're talking about the
I'm not black, I'm OJ.
OJ?
So it's like you manipulated us for our past trauma, and we went along with it.
Yeah.
And that's an opinion that I will always feel very, very. It's not even an opinion; it's a fact. Used our past trauma to win this case because you had black jurors in there as well. Now the prosecution against OJ, where they messed up at, you had a just LAPD, who we all know LAPD is, this very racist foundation of cops back then, and no one trusted the LAPD.
Yeah.
And no one put any trust in the government. I mean, in the government, in the justice system. So there was every reason for people to doubt that OJ did anything wrong.
Yeah.
So the prosecution they did themselves no favor at all. Mark Furman was the racist investigator. Came out in 1997. He tried to destroy audio that pertained to O.J. Simpson. There's conspiracy theories about the gloves, which, you can play with that on the internet if you will. So it's just all those type of complexities. And the thing that really pissed me off about O.J. Simpson was it's the stuff they did afterwards. Because most people, when they do murders or get acquitted of murders, they go off to Florida.
Yeah.
And they disappear. This guy, not only did he go to Florida, he started doing prank videos and started doing like a whole bunch of just crazy stuff. It's like, what is this? What is this going on? It's like, why are you doing all this stuff? It makes no sense. Like, you have no shame at all. And then he did go to civil court because the family did sue him in civil court. And I don't think he gave him too much money.
Yeah.
Because he didn't pay him at all. So it was just so crazy how he lived his life going forward afterwards. And then he went to prison for stealing his own stuff, memorabilia, and got 9 years for that, which we all know you don't get 9 years for stealing your own stuff.
Yeah.
But they did that, obviously, because they was, a little bit of get back.
Yeah.
At that time. So then after he got out that 9 years he did, that's when he started doing like Twitter. And then Twitter was like really, really big. And he started doing like, he was showing stuff on the golf course. Because Richard used to show me stuff on Twitter. I was like, I didn't know OJ was on Twitter. And he was just like, hello, Twitter world. This is OJ Simpson. I was like,
you know what? I think I remember being made aware of that a few years ago for some reason.
Yeah, Richard told me this. I was like, wait a minute, what? OJ has a Twitter? And when he did that Twitter, dude was just going ham. And then they had like a couple radio stations that would make fun of him. And it was so hilarious going forward. I'm not gonna lie, he was entertaining going forward. But it was just, man, it's a complicated history of a man who still to this day people are still divided on. And it's crazy that crazy. It's so crazy to me that people are still divided on this guy when I'm not divided. I'm really not divided. I've said what I've said numerous times. I don't care for OJ. Now, I don't dance on top of the man's grave on what he did. Like that, once he's gone, he's gone. I don't dance on top of his grave. But I will say, for Caitlyn Jenner, 'cause I saw that piece of news pop up, I was like, how can you talk about, because she said good riddance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know
like,
exactly which one you're talking about. They're like, oh yeah, good riddance. And someone responded, didn't you also kill somebody?
Exactly. She killed somebody. Well, at that time, it was a he.
Yeah.
He killed somebody. And you had to settle out of court, and you paid the family because you knew you were going to go to jail, for doing what you did. Then you immediately had a sex change. It's funny how that goes.
Look, hot take potentially, but Caitlyn Jenner is one of those people that I believe are not genuine in their transition.
Oh, without a doubt.
I kind of think their transition was for publicity or an extra bit of fame or whatever. And, at first she was all for trans rights and whatnot. And then over the last couple of years, she's like really flipped right on a lot of things. Yeah, she went very conservative. Even on trans issues, she's very conservative. And trans people are just like, what do you what?
that makes no sense to me. I was like, how can you be so conservative and be a trans?
Yeah, and so now she's kind of becoming this voice where every time an event happens, like OJ's death or like something else, like she'll come out and say something, and then someone's always there to be like, actually, aren't you a hypocrite? Because this example or this example.
And I remember that too. I remember that when that's like, wow, he really killed somebody.
Yeah.
Like, he legit killed somebody. Like, whatever you may think about OJ, we know Bruce Jenner actually killed somebody.
Yeah.
Like that was so crazy.
That's
to
a
me.
thing that happened. Yeah.
So I think she went out and I think she commented on that, and she was like, I know a lot of people bringing this up, and I'm just not going by full quotes here, but she was like, I know a lot of people bringing this up, but it's different from actually killing somebody. I was like, yeah, but how do we know that yours was an accident?
Yeah, right. I don't know. She should just not say anything.
And O.J. Simpson said a long time ago he does not know. He never knew Caitlyn or Bruce Jenner.
Right.
And he didn't say anything wrong against her. He's just like, I just don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
I don't really have any opinion about that person. So, with OJ, I guess you could say rest in peace or whatever the case may be, however you may feel about it.
I'll tell you one thing.
Leave it alone.
When he died, so there was all kinds of just
opinions,
good riddance, and he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
All day for like 2 days, I had to hear that.
But were they from like a lot of black people or from white people?
It
was just a mix. It was just a mixed bag.
Yeah, I think so.
From what I saw, man, it was just so many black people still believing that he didn't do anything. I was like, I will always come away thinking he did.
That's something else too. Like I learned a lot about how he was like racially dividing. At the time, just like that court case entirely was just a whole thing.
Yeah, because I was knee deep in it. So at that time, I understood, and Houston would always have a connection to this.
Yeah,
because it happened during the NBA Finals, and the NBA Finals were like a big deal.
Yeah.
So when the Bronco chase had happened, it did like a small screen of the basketball game, and did a full screen of the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase.
Yeah,
which was so wild to me at that time. Because I was just like, because I didn't understand the impact O.J. had.
Right.
But I really wanted to watch this game. It was the NBA Finals, Rockets versus Knicks. And that was the biggest thing at the time.
Yeah.
And also, too, OJ is also responsible for the break of TV shows and TV crime shows because everyone tuned in to watch the verdict and they kept trial with this all the time.
You're right. Yeah. It was one of the biggest high profile trials at the time was just following OJ.
And it was kind of like the launch of TV crime movies.
Yeah.
I mean, TV crime reality shows.
Yeah.
So you can kind of give him a lot of credit for that because a lot of people watch TV crime shows. Like my grandmother. My grandmother used to love TV crime shows. My sister loves TV crime shows.
Yeah.
He was the launch of reality television too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know all that.
Mm-hmm. He had a very, very profound impact for better or for worse on TV and how we look at it now.
Yeah. I found a compilation of his Twitter videos. Was there anything crazy in these?
It's crazy if you think they are. If you look deep into it. If you're just looking at a man for what a man is, you're like, oh, okay, he ain't saying nothing wrong.
Oh, yeah?
But if you're looking at, it's like, oh, it's OJ. You're getting scared as hell. You're like, what? What did he just say?
Wait, what? What?
He's like, oh, I invited some people over for Thanksgiving, and they didn't want me to use knives. You're like, yeah, I wonder why, OJ.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Everybody got to use butter knives. Everybody.
Yeah. That one was funny. I remember that actually.
Yeah, because Richard showed me a lot of those videos.
Yeah,
yeah, and it was some radio station that he showed me, and that's how I found out he was on Twitter. And I think OJ came on the show, and he said some stuff, if I'm not mistaken, and everybody was like, "What?" He's like, "I come up to the station and kill you." Everybody was like, "What?"
Oh yeah. Yeah, because he would always make comments like, I mean, he wrote a book that was like, what, If I Did It?
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
But that's what I mean, where this guy showed no shame.
No.
He showed no shame going forward.
What was it, Double Jeopardy or whatever? Didn't he have that on him? So, yeah, he was...
This guy
he was clear, free and clear.
Yeah, it's like this guy he had no shame going forward. Like most people when they get acquitted, they just go into hiding and you never see them again.
Yeah.
Like Casey Anthony.
Yeah.
The chick that killed her baby.
Yeah.
She was like this. Everybody, like every guy in America was like, "Oh man, she's hot."
Well, they just had like a documentary come out with her.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like it kind of make her look like the innocent one.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
no,
yeah, I saw that.
What do we do? But you know what though? Documentaries don't have to tell the truth.
They don't.
People don't realize that.
We just got to talking about that.
Yeah,
we just got to talk about that. Like documentaries are skewed to show only one side.
Yeah, or whatever side kind of fits the narrative they're forming, right? Yep. Because they interview everybody for like what 4 or 5 hours probably, and then you take bits and pieces and you put them together in the narrative that you're trying to form. We just watched a documentary last night, and it was quite interesting, but I had to keep that in mind. But it was basically about like 4chan and so like early days like social network stuff, like 4chan, like all these, like the birth of Anonymous and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know that.
And
yeah,
how
I know.
that evolved into like the QAnon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite interesting because it's just, 4chan was just a bunch of people online who they formed a community online. And then eventually it, they started going to conventions and doing conventions and stuff together. And then, eventually they did Anonymous and they took down like some crappy companies or whatever. But then not everybody in 4chan wanted to do good things. They wanted to use Anonymous for like chaotic stuff. And so they would start hacking people and doing all this like messed up stuff. And then the FBI like kind of got onto them. And so a bunch of them left Anonymous, like a bunch of the hackers left. And then some way, somehow like 4chan evolved into like the QAnon stuff because it went through the years, right? So we get to like 2016-ish.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so we get to 2016 where basically they memed Donald Trump into the presidency. And I remember a lot of talk about that back then. It was like people were talking about voting for him for the meme. It was a big joke to them.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. So he became president, but then he lost the election. And that's when the QAnon stuff really ramped up. And then you get to the January 6th stuff. Like it went from like 4chan to like Gen 6 and just like the evolution of like how too much social media can kind of radicalize you and stuff. Very interesting documentary. Honestly, I thought it was good, but
Once again,
I
narrative.
kept it in mind. Yeah, I was like, well, this is the narrative they're forming. And I'm not saying it's all false. Because
No, of course not.
Obviously, January 6th happened.
Yeah, no,
Like,
yeah.
it's-
Let's make that clarity. Yeah, that happened.
As much as people want to like deny that or like say it was a peaceful protest, there's lots of footage of non-peaceful things going on. But it's just something I had to keep in mind while watching or any documentary now.
I'm pretty sure you can find another documentary pertaining to what you watched that will speak on something totally different.
Yeah.
Because it's speaking from a different narrative.
Yeah.
OJ had a documentary as well. Well, yeah, it's not one a documentary, but he had a show come on Fox. And it was about the night that Nicole Brown died. He actually shot a video, and you can find it on YouTube, by the way. And I'm telling you, if you watch it, you will be believed and moved by it because that's how charismatic he was.
Yeah.
Like he showed you every little detail that he knew. He was like, hey, this happened at this time of time. The prosecution told me that I did this.
Yeah.
I went golfing. Now now they said I killed her with an iron club. But they said I used an iron club. Now he went through every step. He's like, I use this iron club when I go golfing because sometimes when I go golfing, I do this, I do that. I was like, using every little piece of detail. Oh yeah, man, you gotta watch it. It was very intriguing and funny at the same time.
Wow.
It was like this guy is amazing, man. This guy's he's what you call it? He's a narcissist.
Yeah.
He's a narcissist to say the least. He was a narcissist.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say, bye, OJ.
Well, thank you for coming to our eulogy of O.J. Simpson.
Yep.
Bet you probably didn't expect this coming out of the On the Go show today, but hey,
it's entertainment.
We're a variety show.
Yeah,
we got a variety of things going on. So if you want to email us about OJ, please don't. But you can email us at onthegopod2023@gmail.com.
Bring it on. I'm ready. If you want to talk about Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole beefing, I can talk about that too.
Yeah. If you want to send us goofy jingles, I am more than happy to twist them and turn them. If you want to contact us on Instagram, you can find us at On The Go with Jacob and James. It's all one word. You can find me on Instagram at jacobdantone.audio. You can find James on Instagram at
9794.
You can find us on YouTube, On The Go with Jacob and James. It's all one word. Go subscribe, go share, go follow, go tell everybody about us. Please, thank you. We appreciate it. And without further ado, I'm on the go. James is on the go. OJ's on the go. We're all on the go.
He's on that Bronco to hell.
He's still on the go.
That Bronco to hell.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please follow and share the podcast with your friends and family units. If by chance you disliked the episode, then please share the On The Go show with your most hated enemies. Thank you and enjoy your day.